So Indra, who's one of many generations of Indras, who originally took refuge in a subatomic particle after being defeated by the demons, has pursued self-enquiry and realized his nature as Brahman, realized that Brahman was the true celestial sovereign. It's only Brahman that ever does anything, although Brahman does nothing. In this realization, Indra rules the universe. Just as this Indra ruled the whole universe while remaining within the subatomic particle, even so there have been countless Indras and universes. As long as one experiences the perceived object as something real and substantial, this world appearance continues to flow. And this is the whole point of this story, was how we give reality to our notions about things. We seem to have this innate capacity for doing this, rather than just simply say, and this is putting it on a trivial level, rather than simply say, I enjoyed this film, we say, that was a good film. We turn the feeling into an objective fact, or apparently external fact. This is a good film. We experience time, so we say there is time, and the time is out there. But as we know, and has often been said, time is a subjective experience. But we try our best to make it into an objective fact. Similarly with space, there are things that we seem to be able to affect directly, and there are things which we can't. And the things that we can't, we describe as further away. That's in the distance. We say this is space. So this is something which we can look into. This is part of self-enquiry, although it's not so much direct observation as simply contemplation. You can contemplate how we make our notions real, how our feelings about the world, how we actually believe in our feelings about the world. If we feel the world is a wicked and evil place, that's how we feel about it. That's the reality of the world for us, and we feed all our notions into that overarching notion. The world's about exploitation. The world's about lifting our consciousness to a higher vibration. The world's about survival of the fittest. The world's about helping those less fortunate. And so on. All these things reflect our own inner tone. That inner tone tells us that the world's a certain way. And rather than contemplate that tone that we've got, rather than look at that which is the reality of the situation, we say the world is like this or it's like that. And this determines our behaviour and our whole belief in the world that we live in. This Maya, world appearance, will continue to flow with ever-changing appearance until the truth is realised, and only then will Maya cease to operate. It's not as if we're even consistent in how we see the world. We tend to assume the world's a certain way, and even when we grow out of it, but even when we maybe feel better within ourselves, we might still think of the world as a bleak place because that's the belief that we consolidated in our formative years. Wherever this Maya functions in whatever manner, remember it is only because of the existence of the egosense. Immediately the truth concerning the egosense is investigated and understood, this Maya vanishes. So it's the realization that everything is simply a reflection of your egosense, and this relates directly to what I was saying about your inner tone, your inner feeling about things. You might have a strong pain body, so you'll see the world as pain, as suffering, but perhaps you have a positive outlook. You see the world as opportunities to be experienced, a great to be alive feeling. But what we want to know, what we want to be able to appreciate is, not only do we colour the world with our feelings, but there is no world to be coloured. We've externalised it all. We've externalised everything. We've created the notion of an external world. There isn't actually any basis for it. But then you have to also appreciate there's no basis for any individual personality. You have to keep looking into it deeply enough until this becomes evident. So not only is there no external world, there's no individual personality. So there's no point in trying to contemplate the notional nature of the external world in reference to you as an individual psyche, because that's also a fabrication. For the reality of the infinite consciousness is totally free from the subject-object division, from the least trace of gross substantiality. It is pure void, with the infinite unconditioned consciousness alone as its reality. The word void seems rather stark and cold, but what it means is pure freedom. Because notions of an individual self, notions of an external world, are what produce feelings of anxiety, of insecurity, worry, concerns, ups and downs. But once you realise there's no basis for any of these feelings, then you're totally free. Freer than you can possibly imagine. Because reality is void of all anxieties, all worries, insecurities, fears. And in that voidness, there can only be the greatest of jubilation, because you're free. This is acknowledgement of consciousness, which is essentially unconditioned and is the sole reality. It needs no other. It needs nothing to fill it. It is absolutely complete in itself, and it can be realized right now.